Are you suffering from never-ending student loans, a job you hate, and high rent payments? Have you ever wondered to yourself, the fuck is going on? Do you want to go back in time and slap your younger self for looking forward to being older? You may be suffering from adulting, a chronic condition that affects millions of people over 22. Well, good news! Ask your doctor today about a new medication from Druggy Labs called Phukit, P-H-U-K-I-T, a once-daily pill that will help you not give a shit and forget all your problems. Side effects include missing payments, a lower credit score, and possible homelessness. Ask your doctor today!
Welcome to Druggy Nation. We're the bridge between everything pharmacy and pop culture. And now, let's check in with your connect and America's favorite pharmacist, Emmanuel Vogirin.
Yo, why does it seem that every drug out there has worse side effects than the actual condition? You know? All right, so if it's your first time listening to the Small Doses podcast, this is basically where I focus on a particular condition and also talk about relevant pharmacy and health news. Now, today's topic is about obesity. Since it's about to be beach season, for those that got a little extra meat on them, there's no need to feel bad about yourself. Now, you can still head up the beach with confidence and rock that beautiful swimsuit you got. But the reason I want to talk about obesity is not to body shame, but more so because of the health factors behind being overweight and obese. Like, I know we all have heard of BMI, and that can give people a false representation. People come in different shapes and sizes and forms. There's not one standard chart to determine if you're overweight or obese. So the real question to me revolves around whether or not you are healthy and able to have a good quality of life. Now, if the answer is yes, then that's all that matters. Because when you're obese, your overall quality of life may be diminished. You may not be able to do things you used to, such as participate in enjoyable activities. You may avoid public places altogether. So obese people may even encounter discrimination, whether that's socially or professionally at the workplace. And you can have other weight-related issues that may affect your quality of life, like depression, disability, shame, guilt, social isolation, and lower work achievements. So there's discussions and debates as to whether or not now, like, BMI is the best measure for calculating obesity. And you can look at, that online for yourself if so inclined. There's definitely more research that's arguing that it may not be the most accurate way to measure body weight, though. So back to obesity. Let me define it and talk a little about it. Obesity is a complex disorder involving an excessive amount of body fat. It increases your risk of diseases and health problems such as heart disease, cancer, stroke, erectile dysfunction, and sexual health issues, also infertility and irregular periods, diabetes and high blood pressure, breathing disorders. I mean, the list is endless, even cancer. Put simply, this occurs when you take in more calories than you burn through exercise and normal daily activities. Now, your body stores these excess calories as fat. According to the CDC, nearly 40% of American adults are obese. That's a lot of people. So doing the math there are 325.7 million people in the U.S. And of that, there's over 247 million adults. And 40% of that means that there's about 100 million people considered obese in America. Now, two big lifestyle culprits are inactivity. So if you're not very active, you don't burn as many calories. Now, with a sedentary lifestyle, you can easily take in more calories every day than you use through exercise and normal daily activities. Also, unhealthy diet and eating habits. Weight gain is inevitable if you do that. I mean, if you regularly eat more calories than you burn, and most Americans' diets are too high in calories anyways, and are full of fast food and high caloric beverages. But also, you can have social and economic issues. I mean, research has linked social and economic factors to obesity. Avoiding obesity is difficult if you don't have safe areas to exercise, especially in urban communities. Similarly, you may not have been taught healthy ways of cooking, or you may not have money to buy healthier foods. Why is it always harder to find cheap vegetables than it is fast food and stuff that's not good for you? That's just society we live in now. In addition, the people you spend more time with can influence your weight. That's important. So you're more likely to become obese if you have obese friends or relatives. Also included is a lack of sleep. Not getting enough sleep or getting too much sleep can cause changes in hormones. So you need that sweet spot. You get too little or too much, not good for you. So it can increase changes in hormones that increase your appetite. So you may also crave foods high in calories and carbohydrates, which can contribute to weight gain. Nobody wants to be a 2 a.m. eater going to the fridge. So you gotta kind of avoid that. I think that those that are going through obesity know what they have to do, but it's easier said than done, right? Eat right, exercise, avoid food traps. I think the most important thing is a lifestyle change. Use vegetable-based oils rather than animal-based fats. Eat more fruit, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. Exercise, even moderately. For at least 30 minutes a day. Just go walk around your neighborhood. Cut down your consumption of fatty and sugary foods. Like, make it a routine to not eat out more than once a week. Then that becomes a habit. When you go grocery shopping, always eat first before you go grocery shopping. Everybody says that. Get just one cheat food, I say, like a snack or something you really like, and just be consistent with it. Don't go all cold turkey and start eating like a rabbit. Make it a routine. Then in time becomes a part of your life. People already know this, so why is it so hard to make these changes? Well, some researchers say that overweight and obesity is a social, cultural issue as much as it is a personal behavior. This means that as a society, we need to change how we build cities, work environments, food industries, etc. It needs to go beyond awareness and education. People already know what they need to do and may have tried in the past unsuccessfully. It goes back to my point earlier about social and economic issues. There's layers to this obesity epidemic. So for everyone of all sizes, when you do hit the beach, though, just some tips on sunscreen. You should get broad spectrum because it protects against UVA and UVB rays, and it helps prevent skin cancer and sunburn. Sunscreen should also be water resistant. So if you read the label on the sunscreen, if it says very water resistant, that's even better because that means you're good for 80 minutes in the water. Otherwise, water resistant is only good for 40 minutes before you got to put on some more sunscreen. Basically, I would say get SPF, which means skin protecting factor, SPF 30 or higher, because that means you can stay in the sun for about 300 minutes before getting sunburn. But regardless, you should apply sunscreen every 2 hours and every time you swim or sweat. All right, so now let's get into some news stories that got my attention this week. So another guy was cured of HIV. I think that's 2 now. It was a London man and a Berlin patient. Both also had cancer. And there's potentially a third person now. It's a German man, but it's early on. It's only been about 3 months, so they don't want to say he's completely cured yet. Now, this story made me think of Dr. Sebi. And if you don't know who that is and haven't heard of him, look him up. I'll probably do an episode on him at some point. But the story from the USA Today was that there was another person that was cured of HIV. And the main controversy around it is that we all know HIV is not the death sentence it once was before. All it takes is 2 pills a day and you're Gucci. Like, there's great treatments available now where people can live a great long life with HIV. I think it may be more of a stigma thing now where people would want to, use this option and try to get rid of the disease completely. Let me explain the process. So the still experimental surgery involves chemotherapy and a bone marrow transplant using stem cells. It's painful, it's risky, and it threatens harsh side effects that can last for years. So doctors are saying that it's so dangerous and should only be used in patients with cancer because that's the only evidence we have so far. So basically, experts say that if you're healthy on HIV meds, there's no need to risk the operation and risky procedure. Another story I found deals with depression. Now, if you heard of ketamine before, aka Special K, what do you think of the drug being used for depression? Well, it's a new nasal spray called Spravato. Generic name is called esketamine, has a ketamine in there, right? By Janssen Pharmaceuticals to treat adult depression in cases where other antidepressants have failed. Now, this could be major news because if you're somewhat familiar or heard about ketamine before, it's notorious for being used as a club or party drug where it basically would distort your sights and sounds and make you feel detached from your environment. Now, this is interesting because we're starting to see a bunch of drugs like ketamine and mushrooms being used for therapeutic reasons, not just for, parties or hallucinations, stuff like that. Another story I thought was worth mentioning was that marijuana used by teens declined, actually went down, and states that legalized medical marijuana, which is just more proof that all those haters that don't want to have weed legalized and come up with all this BS that the kids, them mute them. will be affected or just continuously being proven wrong. So you can check out that story if you're interested as well. All right, I'm trying to keep the small doses to less than 15 minutes or 10 minutes. So I think I'm just about done with the stories for now. If you like these small doses, let me know what conditions you want the Spark Notes version of by leaving a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or you can message me on my Facebook page, Drug E Nation, DRUG-E Nation, and also follow me on IG. Shout out to all my druggies, all my day one druggies. We're blowing up. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We're just getting started. And with that, I'm out. Deuces to the next episode, all right?